What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today in this video, we're going to talk about how I analyze the charts every single morning. If you know me, one of the things I pride myself on is my daily routine. That's what keeps things intact, and that's what allows me to be in the mindset of doing the same thing over and over and over, and that translates over to the chart, right? So every single morning after I've come from the gym, I've done what I need to do, showered, etc., right? I'll get into the charts, and the first thing that I want to do is figure out what is going on today. Is there any kind of interesting news that is going on today? So that being said, I would simply go to forexfactory.com just to check out what is going to be on the outlook for today. Is there any news that's going to interrupt? At what time will it interrupt trading? I should be mindful of that if I'm going to be in any positions, etc. And I should also translate that over to my traders, right? And the very next thing is I want to do a little bit of reading on what's going on in the world. So I'd spend about 10 to 15 minutes reading up on articles about what's going on. So I'd go to investing.com and try to get a sense of what exactly is going on with stocks, right? What's going on with gold, what's going on with many different pairs that are of interest to me, right? And then followed by getting on the charts and starting to mark up. I would delete some of my old markups, and I want some fresh markups as I start my top-down analysis, all right? So I will start my top-down analysis from the daily, and I have gone through a full, complete, and detailed guide on my top-down analysis. If you do want to watch that video, you can definitely do so. But I would go through my top-down analysis, and eventually I'd end up with my charts fully done and prepared for me to take any entries if they present themselves. Okay, so now that my top-down analysis is done, the next thing I want to do is go to the 30-minute time frame. 30-minute time frame, obviously, we know is important when it comes to BC30 because this is our execution time frame. And I want to double check on my specific areas of support, resistance, right, that have to do with what particular entries that I might be getting into. So for example, we have an area of resistance up here, right? We see multiple times where price was unable to break higher because of this particular level over here. And similarly, we have a small area of support down here that we see price has been unable to break beyond. So I have my area set, and the next thing I want to do is set my alerts in those particular areas of interest. So I want to set my alert above the area of resistance here and below the area of support down here, because I want to know when it breaks out of either one of them, right? Because they're going to be significant. I even drag this area across because I see that this area is significant as well, this area of support down here. So I want to know where price is breaking pretty much. And depending on where price is breaking, then we'll know if we have a BC30 opportunity. So for example, let's go through an example of an area of support and resistance that was broken and a potential BC30 setup, right? So for example, most recently, we had price somewhat struggling to break this area over here, and similarly, unable to break above that area. But what did price do? Price broke through that area with this candle, right? Notice how this candle right over here breaks this area. Why does it break? Because the body of the candle closes below that area of support. That area of support, the way I marked it off is considering the bodies as most important. Do the wicks go below this area? Sure. But the bodies is what I'm concerned about mostly, okay? So that being said, the body of this candle closed below the body of the other candles that we have seen here that formed the area of support, and therefore that became our breaking candle. So being that it was our breaking candle, we wait for it to close, and it closed, and we enter as the next candle is pushing beyond our breaking candle, and that is a simple BC30 setup. That is exactly how you execute BC30. Very, very simple trade, very easy trade, easy winner. And similarly, that's the same thing, rinse and repeat, that we want to do on this side. We want to do the same thing, nothing different. We want to wait for the area to break. We want to analyze, well, is the body of the candle going to close above the area of resistance or below the area of support? And then afterwards, we want to analyze, is the next candle pushing beyond that candle? That's how we get into our trade, and that's how we make sure that we are following our rules. Now, there are a couple of caveats. Like I said, we're checking news before we even enter the markets. We want to know what's going on. So for instance, if I'm on the Eastern time zone and it's 8:20, and that's when I see a particular BC30 setup forming, but we have news coming out at 8:30, I might want to pass up on that one because I can't guarantee that I'll be done with the move in less than 10 minutes before news. And we don't know what news can do. News can completely reverse things. News can completely mess up everything that was previously setting up. So we have to keep those things in mind. We have to keep in mind as well what is going on in the world. Is it going to be a bit more volatile right now? How are the market conditions? How should I adjust my stop loss, right? Maybe gold is really volatile right now, and maybe I want to lessen my risk. And as a result, I also need to consider that into the strategy because I don't want to necessarily compromise what a good stop loss is, right? Stop loss is based on structure. I want to make sure that I rather compromise how much I'm willing to risk, depending on what the market environment is like. All of those things need to be considered before you even take the trade. Okay, so although the strategy is simple and it works and it continues to be profitable and many people have found success using the strategy, there's a lot of other factors for you as a trader that you need to be able to keep in mind so that you can continue to find success using this strategy. Okay, but this is how I would analyze the markets every morning. And obviously some mornings there will be no trade, and that's okay. Sometimes the trade will materialize in the late morning going into the afternoon, but ultimately I would probably use my cutoff time as around 12 p.m. You could say around 11:30 a.m. That's probably when I'm not necessarily looking for a trade anymore because more of the volume is gone from the market. I believe it's London session that closes at around 11 a.m. So there's less volume overall in the market, and I'd rather stay out. So ultimately, guys, ask yourself, what does my morning routine look like? What do I do every morning to prepare myself for success in these markets? Because executing the trade or a good strategy, all of that stuff is good, but all of the things you do around that to support it, to make sure that you're giving it exactly what it needs to be successful also does matter. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you alert, right? Are you making sure that you are in the best position to succeed in these markets? We're talking about making money here. Put yourself in the best position to succeed if you want to succeed in these markets. All right, guys. So I hope you guys gain value here. Don't just jump into the markets and just press buy or sell, guys. Actually get yourself together. If there's a trade that's going, maybe you're going to miss that trade. But it's more important that you're prepared for the markets before you enter or do anything in the markets. All right, guys. So I hope you guys gain value in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And until next time, guys, peace.